Hello. So I'm not too sure where this morning's reading is going to go exactly, but I've realized that this is becoming one of my outlets to be able to unpack my own ways of thinking, be able to get things from stuck in my head onto a page, and then out of my mind. Well, an attempt to get it out of my mind through talking about it. Okay, here goes. The world we currently live in is not made for the sensitive among us. It will chew you up, spit you out, and then proceed to walk over you and never look back at you. Even more so if you are a man. As men, we are told to suck it up, to toughen up, which may work for most. And but if you are sensitive, you are seen as weak. Fuck what society makes us think. I believe that if you are sensitive, you're special. But the way the world treats the sensitive is frankly disgusting. How has our culture devolved to such a primitive state? But it is even less so since if we were primitive, I have no doubt that these traits would be held in much higher regard. We essentially praise the most evil traits because those traits lead to success. You have to lie, cheat, steal, and kill to make it to the top. The world we live in is sick and it is only getting progressively worse. How does one learn to navigate this world and not become contaminated by its ideals to do so? How do we continue on if everything affects us so deeply? How do we get anywhere in life without losing the parts of self that make us unique? How do we compete against those who will burn us to the ground at the very first chance they get? How do we get through life without losing all hope in humanity? How do we find our community when those like us are hiding from the world? How do we not lose hope when most of our encounters act as further proof that our true selves are not welcome in this world? Fuck this evil world. The world may not change, but the least we can do is remain true to ourselves and shine our light in a world full of darkness. By not doing so, the world will be surely doomed if it isn't already. So I've been kind of stuck in quite a, not a negative mindset, but I'm trying to allow myself to feel and release my emotions because for far too long, I've always tried to repress my emotions and feelings. And all that has done is led me to many and continuous times of depression. Because if we suppress our true feelings, we turn those feelings against ourselves and become depressed. And I've lived in this state of being for far too long. And at the moment, this all has come to the surface because of not just a heartbreak, but something that has been done to me that I could not really fathom. When I try think of things that have been done to me or just the way the world acts, or even how I act towards the world, I try think of how it would feel if the action I would take was done to me. And in this way, I've always felt like I'm able to make decisions and treat people in the way that I would like to be treated. And when someone does not treat me like that, then I just begin to lose all hope in humanity. And I'm struggling to see that person as a good person anymore. In my relationship I had now, I try to do everything I could to show up, but I know that I did not show up in all the ways that were necessary to make the relationship work out. But I was trying not to impose myself onto someone else's life and their situation and give advice, or in that way I also realized that I was not truly there for the person as I maybe could have been. But regardless of that, and regardless of the trauma that she experienced, I find that that does not give justification to do something so terrible that it broke my spirit. And even before today, one of the reasons things causing me so much stress is that I couldn't talk about it here, because I'm also like, at the moment, it's not that I've necessarily distanced myself from my friends, but I've prioritized the internal work that I need to do on myself to become the person that I want to become. And that has led to me isolating myself quite a lot. And with that isolation, I haven't had an outlet for my feelings and my expression. And this same situation already came up twice in the relationship. When the first time, when I thought everything was going well, again, I was trying not to impose myself too much and be too intense in the relationship, because when she told me that she had a very intense past relationship, I did not want to push her into anything necessarily. But then that was taken maybe as if I was not committed to the relationship, which I definitely was. And then when her ex came back and she slept with her ex right away, obviously I was, and understandably, gonna freak out, because no matter, I've tried to think around the situation in so many different ways, and it's just not something that I can see as being morally justifiable or morally right. I think that I was, yeah, just incredibly hurtful. And yes, I know that there were lots of traumas and things that led her to sleeping with her ex, but I felt like that didn't take me into account at all and my feelings, especially when I tried to relay how sensitive I am and how easily I can be hurt. So when that is just completely disregarded, obviously it's going to break me down completely. And then this is the one thing that I've just can't get over at the moment, is if we break up and you go sleep with them again the next day, that is a big fuck you to any, just to me as a person. And every time I speak to someone, every time I try to replay it in my head, it's just something that I can't justify. And I can't, no matter how much you have been hurt and how much trauma you're feeling, is when, because at first I thought it was not out of a place of malice necessarily, but it just completely disregarded me as a human being. And that is fucked up, to say the least. And me not being able to talk about it, especially here and putting it online, which, if you know that I'm a content creator and I love to create content, you should have known that it was going to eventually, either there was the risk of it, me putting it online, which I try and to some degree now at least not direct it or not use names or anything. But it's also unfair to me to now not allow me to have the outlet to express my pain and hurt. And that's been causing me so much intense suffering. And to be quite frank, if I've been hurt to the degree that I have, what is stopping me from doing what I want to do? And if anything, it more harms my reputation than her reputation, because I've been so wary after the first time that it happened that she slept with her ex about even talking about her to anyone or showing. Yes, I'd maybe mentioned the name to my friends, but I'd not shown any pictures. There was only one of my friends or two of my friends that had actually met her. And too bad, to be honest, because I cannot let this and my feelings of obligation towards her in any way stop me from having the outlet that I need to have to be able to process and get to the next stage of my life. And yeah, that's what this ended up being. And I don't want to be talking about it every day, to be honest. I want to cut the connection. I want to, not just the connection, but the energetic connection that I had obviously created with her. And what's even again more fucked up to me is that now someone else's energy was brought into my energy out of something that I could not control. And that's what I was saying earlier, how the world is just so fucked up that these things can be not normalized, but yeah, like things like lying, cheating, all of these things are just like, oh, I have an excuse for it. My own traumas led me in that direction. And I've had similar instances where my traumas have made me do bad things. But that's why I'm sitting here today turning my life around, because the only way that I can show my remorse for what I've done to other people is by improving myself. And yeah, it's a long journey, a lifelong journey that I'll never truly end, because should the journey end, means that there is a very high likelihood that I'll just regress back to the sadness and the state of being that I'd been in for far too long, that I did not like. So, yeah, that's today's ramble. Again, hopefully, I might mention it once or twice more times, but the reason why I'll mention it is because I need to be able to process my thoughts and emotions. And this has become one of my ways to do so. So, thanks for watching, and see you again tomorrow.